Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, and if you're brand new here, welcome in. So today I don't really have a reaction for you guys. This is a little video kind of celebrating the 1 month anniversary of my channel. So today it's June 13th here in the US, and I saw a bunch of comments asking me like, how did you get into P-pop? Can you do a video explaining how you became a P-pop fan? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And I was like, when's the right time to do it? So I thought maybe for the 1 month anniversary of this channel, I can talk a little bit about how I became a P-pop fan. Because, you know, going into this reaction channel, most of the groups that I've been doing reactions to, I've already seen before, I've been a fan of, with the exception of a few that are brand new, like first time looks. But yeah, I don't know how long this video is going to be, but I figured I'd probably give you guys a little bit of a background about how I got into P-pop as a whole. So yeah, if you guys are interested in learning a little bit more about me, definitely keep watching, and I hope you guys learned a little something about me. Okay, so I'm looking down at my iPad right now because I have all my notes on it, because I was like, I gotta write my stuff down so I don't get jumbled and I start rambling. But yeah, my first kind of brush with P-pop was early 2020, like spring 2020. I saw Go Up on YouTube. It was in my recommended videos, and I didn't really know anything about it. At the time, I wasn't into K-pop yet. So I just saw, you know, it said Go Up, and it was 5 cute guys, and I was like, well, I'll take a look at it. It looks like a music video. Looks like it has a lot of views. I will go take a look. So I clicked on the video and I recognized the Tagalog, and I was like, holy crap, they're a Filipino boy band. Like, it hit me, and I was so shocked to see it because I wasn't aware that the Philippines participated in this boy band trend that, you know, started with like the rest of the world was doing, especially with, you know, K-pop and Western boy bands like One Direction, you know, things like that. I didn't realize that the Philippines also had one like that. At the time, I was pretty ignorant to the Filipino entertainment industry, so I didn't know much about OPM outside of a couple artists here and there. But I really enjoyed the song, and it made me so happy and was such a ray of sunshine that day that I saw it. But I did not pursue SB19's discography and their career because at the time I was not into foreign language music. I was into mostly Western music, American music, things like that. Later on, I saw Mappa, I think the lyric video, can't remember when, but I do distinctly remember seeing the lyric video for Mappa and then recognizing the name SB19, and I was like, oh, those are the guys that did Go Up that I saw, you know, a year ago. Again, didn't really pursue their career that much because at the time I wasn't really into P-pop. I think that was like, what, 2021 when it came out, so I think at the time I was into K-pop or just starting to get into K-pop, so I was so focused on that I wasn't really paying any attention to any other things outside of that, so it was sort of pushed to the back of my mind. Later, in May 2022, I was kind of getting a little bit of K-pop fatigue because I was trying to binge as many artists as I could to keep up with the huge amount of Korean artists in the K-pop industry. And I was like, okay, I need a breath of fresh air, I need something else, another artist to binge. Who is on my list that I haven't listened to yet? And I always kept SB19 in the back of my mind, but then I was like, you know what about that one Filipino band that I heard a couple years ago and I never really kept up with them and kept up with their work? I'm gonna go and take a look at their music videos and see if I like their songs, because I really liked Go Up and I liked Mappa. So, yeah, I wanted to give them a try. And the first music video I saw, of course, after Go Up, the first music video I saw during my, my little research was What? And I remember I was so floored. I actually had tears in my eyes from how much it resonated with me and how incredible and epic I thought it was. It was so crazy, and I was like, okay, we have to do another one. And then right after that, I saw Bazinga. And I could tell from the thumbnail it was going to be a wild ride. I was so hooked like that. It felt like lightning hit me. It's so crazy. So I watched all their music videos, I watched their show breaks, their interviews, all that stuff. Now, coincidentally, I became a fan and started doing all this right before Bulan came out in May. I think it came out the end of May. I started getting into this right when spring semester ended, for us at least, in like the beginning of May. So it was like that weird in-between like the end of spring semester and the start of summer semester. So I had a couple weeks. So that's when I started really ramping up all of my content consumption. So Bulan came out. Even though that was Philip's solo, that was technically my first comeback of any kind with any of the SB19 members, and I saw it the day it premiered, and I remember genuinely, I will never forget that day I first saw the music video for it. My jaw was open for the entire 4 minutes or however long that video was. I was so blown away because I love learning about historical events. I love learning about mythology. I love learning about fantasy. It's like everything that I like and everything that I have an interest in wrapped up into one epic video. And I'd never heard a song like Bulan before. It was so unique and out of the ordinary, especially coming from a P-pop artist. And I was like, genuinely, my jaw was just hanging open. I had to show my sister, and she loved it too. I think that's one of her favorite songs by Up to this day. So yeah, after Bulan snatched my soul out of my body, I spent the rest of the summer binging their content and learning their stories, and I realized that I had so much more in common with all the members than I realized. Literally each member, I had something that I could relate to. Now the funny thing is, when I saw Go Up in 2020, I didn't really remember anybody's faces or anybody's names. It just kind of was like, oh yeah, there's just 5 Filipino artists in that group. Except for Pablo. Pablo's face and his name were he was the only one whose face and name I remembered and could put a name to the face. And obviously at the time he was Sejun, and then when I watched it again, there was like a lyric video for it, it referred to him as Pablo. So I was like, oh, okay, Pablo Sejun, like that made sense. But I remembered him after 2 years of not listening to SB19 with the exception of the Mappa lyric video and not seeing their faces after 2 years. And when I saw them again in the What Music video, I automatically picked him out even though he had his long hair and everything. Something about Pablo just really stuck out to me and just, held in my memory. But he to me was the face of the group. And like when I see him, it's like, oh yeah, that's SB19. The other members, I had a little bit of time to put names to faces. Eventually I got everybody's names down. No worries. But yeah, more about individual members later. So for about a month, I put off listening to other P-pop groups simply because I was only interested in learning about SB19. Then after a month, I was like, I want to check out other groups. So I got into Alamat. Alamat, I actually saw their photos on Instagram when they debuted. I think that was like 2021. Again, at the time, because I was not into P-pop, I wasn't really super interested in learning about their discography, but I did see their photos and I was like, oh, they're all really cute and they look so good in their outfits. I could see they were bringing elements of traditional Filipino, clothing and the colors and the patterns. And I think that was so cool, but it took me until, summer 2022 to get into them. And kind of the same way I felt about Pablo, who stuck out to me and was like the face of the group to me, the identifying face. Mo was the face for Alamat for me. Like after I saw the picture of they were 9 at the time when I first saw them. I saw all 9 of them and Mo was the only one whose name and face I remembered when I listened to them again in 2022. So to me, he was like the face of the group, the identifying one. So after Alamat, it was kind of a rabbit hole from there. I just checked out every single group I could, from G22 to Binny to BGYO to Vision and Callista and Fourth Impact. I actually already knew them because I'd been following them since I was an undergrad student. So I was very familiar with them and I love Fourth Impact dearly. And the thing with when I explore new genres is, to me, it's kind of like a rule of 2. If you've ever seen Star Wars, the rule of 2 with the Sith, that's always like what I think about. There's one to get me introduced to the genre, and then there's one to get me down the rabbit hole checking out other members. So for P-pop, of course, it was SB19 was the one to introduce me, then Alamat was kind of like the decisive factor where it was like, yeah, I do want to check out other artists in this genre. But yeah, it's like that for literally every genre that I'm introduced to. Like I'm a rock music fan, for example. So Bon Jovi was my first rock band where I just connected with them and I got into their music. And then I was like, okay, I want to check out someone else. So I think my second one was Skid Row. And then after that, I just, went down the rabbit hole. K-pop, same thing. Stray Kids was the first group that I got into. Then right after Stray Kids, I found ATEEZ. And then it was downhill from there. And now I love K-pop. Now, this is really important for me. As far as members go, I never pick biases in groups. I know I've been asked that in my comments multiple times on different videos, and I will answer every single time. I don't have a bias. I find that there's something that I can relate to with each member in a group, and I can never pick out one member and say, yeah, you're my favorite, I relate to you the most, because then it's like, oh, that member I also really relate to. Maybe that's, my bias. And it just turns out that I can't ever pick just one because each member of the group fits together like a puzzle. Like they're each pieces in this puzzle and it makes it so beautiful as a whole. And when you take out one member, it feels like something's off or something's missing. So I don't know. I just never feel the need to pick a bias in any group that I react to ever. I love all the members. Yeah, so then back to SB19, I kind of checked out their music and their show breaks. And I think I've seen pretty much all the show breaks and all the vlogs and the guestings. Justin's vlogs, Stell's vlogs, Josh's vlogs. I've seen all of them. Then July came around in the end of August, and that's when they announced the Wyatt comeback and the Wyatt tour. And I was so stoked, and I was elated that I became a fan at this point in time, because before then there was no prospect of them coming to the US. And, you know, people were asking, oh, I hope they can come to the US so we can see them someday. But then in August it became a reality. Oh yeah, they're going to be coming here. Now, I was a little apprehensive at first because earlier in the summer, my sister and I traveled to see another group out of state, and we got to the airport the day of the concert. It was canceled due to a COVID issue, which, you know, that's something that you can't really control. So we were not upset at the artists or anything, but it's just like we spent, you know, an entire weekend flying up there, and then we were going to turn around and fly back right after the concert. So we basically had no other plans but the concert, and we just kind of, you know, it felt like a wasted trip to us. So we didn't want that to happen again this time. But I was like, look, you know, I know we spent a lot of money on that one, but this SB19 one, it's now or never. If we don't go see them, there's no guarantee they'll come back to the US. Yeah, but I'm so glad that I did make the New York City event, because, you know, it was their very first time, their first show performing in the US, and it was such a monumental and special thing for them and for us, and I was so lucky to be included in that. I actually started Twitter to keep up with the Cup Sleeve event in New York, and I ended up liking PPOP Twitter so much that I just kept my Twitter account, and now I'm on it every single day. And I met so many amazing A-Team that I still keep in touch with. I met some YouTube reactors who kind of inspired me to start my own channel to do this. And yeah, after the concert, I decided I also wanted to start doing reactions, and now I'm doing this, and I listen to so much P-pop, and I'm checking out all the new P-pop groups that are coming out. So stay tuned for those reactions, because I love sharing this adventure and this journey of musical discovery with you guys. So just to kind of wrap things up, I mean, P-pop connects me to my heritage, and I think that's one of the most powerful things that I can feel about this genre. The idols feel more relatable because of that connection, and the fan base feels more familiar. For those who don't know, I probably should say I'm half Filipina, but I was born and raised here in the US, so I didn't grow up speaking Tagalog, and you know, it was only a part of my upbringing. It wasn't the whole of it. Whenever I saw my mom's family or anything like that, it was, you know, I got to interact a little bit more with it, but as a whole, I grew up American. But something about SB19 really connected with me. I've never felt such an immediate connection the way I did with these artists. I understood their humor. I got their references to things. I knew about some of the places that they went to, and I had never found that kind of connection in any other foreign artists, obviously for that cultural reason, but it was just such a powerful thing, and I feel like I learned so much about myself through listening to them and other P-pop artists. And, you know, now I love interacting with the idols on social media and the fan bases. So here's a fun fact about me. I usually really, really hate interacting with fan bases online. I'm the kind of person where I don't really want any interaction with the fan bases. I want to support the artists on my own, you know, outside of joining fan bases online, with the exception of things like Cup Sleeve events and concerts, which are in-person things. I enjoy going to those so much, but I don't like to interact with other fans or stans online. It's too much for my mental health. But yeah, once I found 18 and got into SB19, I started I started interacting with other fans who were from different states, from different parts of the world, and it's kind of like a door just opened. It was so nice to interact with a fan base that I could relate to, and we all had something in common, and I think a lot of it is a testament to SB19's character as a whole, and how they treat each other, and how they teach us to treat each other the way we want to be treated. And, you know, I talked about this in my Pagtatag album reaction. There's so many things I learned from being an SB19 fan. Yeah, I'm thankful that I found this community that kind of allowed me to step out of my comfort zone. I'm learning little bits of Tagalog now, and, you know, through their music, through their songs and their interviews, kind of rushing to keep up. Yeah, the way I learn Tagalog, or the way that I understand it, it's kind of like playing Mad Libs, where if you give me context, and I can hear you speaking and see you speaking, I can just tell by the context clues and the words that I do know, I sort of fill in the blanks from there. And sometimes I'm right on the dot and sometimes I'm nowhere near the ballpark. So it's kind of, rolling the dice when I try to understand it myself, but I'm working on it. And that's part of what makes P-pop so special to me, is that it's a learning process and I really, really enjoy it. And even other languages too, like Bisaya and all these different things. I enjoy learning little bits and pieces of those as well. I even found myself singing along to a lot of their songs in concert, like in the Wyatt tour, which, kind of surprised me because I was like, I can't even believe I remembered that and retained that knowledge of the lyrics, because normally it's very difficult for me to learn languages and to remember pronunciations for things. So even I surprised myself. But yeah, and I think that little me would have really been a different person if I had P-pop growing up. If I had had these Filipino artists to look up to as a kid, growing up, half Filipina and, living here in the US, I think that my taste in music and my view of my own identity would have been so different growing up. But now, it took me until I was 22 at the time when I got into SB19 to form that connection and feel that, through music. Music is such a powerful universal thing, whether you're part of the culture or not, whether you speak the language or not, it's a binding factor that connects all of us across the globe, and it kind of makes you feel like one community. And that's one of the most powerful things I can think of, and that's why music is so special to me. But yeah, I hope more Filipino American kids find P-pop and find SB19 and use them kind of to look up to them. And yeah, I hope that they also feel the same connection that I did, because I really enjoy interacting with P-pop idols and the fan bases. And yeah, like I said, it keeps everybody, one big happy family, which I really love. So guys, I think that's pretty much it for today. I've said pretty much all I've needed to say to you guys. But yeah, if I can answer any questions, or if you guys want to know any more questions about how I got into P-pop, or, things like that. I've even gotten a couple of my friends and family members into P-pop as well, into SB19, so that's a win for me. But yeah, if I can answer any other questions, put them down in the comments. I'm thinking maybe doing another Q&A video, possibly if I get to 3,000 subscribers, doing more of a Q&A about me, if that's something you guys are interested in. I don't know. We do not have to do that. If you guys are like, no, stop talking, just react to things, we'll watch that. I totally understand. That's what I'm here for. That's what this channel is here for. But if that is something that is on the table that you guys want to see, I might make a post about that later when we get closer to 3,000 subscribers, and I'll ask you guys for questions, whatever you guys want to know about me that you want me to answer, whether it's P-pop related or not, something more personal, doesn't really matter. I will choose a few questions and I'll see what I can do. But yeah, that's just an option that's sort of out there. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed my little story time, and I can't wait to share more music with you guys and more reactions. So until the next reaction, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, everybody.